Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Horror Master YouTube channel. Welcome back to day number 18. Yes, we're all grown up already. Yes, day number 18 of my 31 Days of Horror series. I am surprisingly and shocked I haven't gone more crazy in doing this franchise because it's been a huge undertaking for me. But thank you guys from the bottom of my black heart. Thank you guys for watching the videos, sharing the videos. The response has been great, and like I said, we're almost to the end, unfortunately. But like I said, we're going head after head after head. And with this episode, we're gonna be tackling a franchise that the majority of the films were first timers for me. The rest, some of them are movies I had to rewatch to kind of get a refreshment. Of course, I am talking about Phantasm. Yeah, boy, it's about time we get into the Phantasm. And like I said, Phantasm's a franchise that took me a while to get into because while I was doing this list, I was thinking of franchises, what to do, and Phantom was one that I always wanted to more go deep into the lore and figure out what the hell it's all about. And I was like, you know what? This was the opportunity for me to see the rest of the Phantasm films I haven't seen ever, or kind of recapping the rest of the Phantasm films. So, of course, you're gonna get a different perspective because unlike the previous films or franchises done with like a Child's Play, a Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, I've seen those films a billion times. I kind of know them by heart. With this franchise, maybe the first two films I kind of seen maybe once or twice. The other films I haven't seen none. So, like I said, you're gonna get kind of a different perspective, like a first time perspective, instead of somebody who's been watching these films longer than me or loves the franchise even more than me. So let me down in the comments what's your ranking or what are your thoughts on the Phantasm franchise. I really want to know y'all guys' opinion. But enough of that, let's get into the ranking. So we have five films of this franchise, a bit of a shorter franchise. I honestly thought it was gonna be more than five, maybe to eight. I mean, who knows? Maybe years down the road they're gonna release more films. But regardless, let's get into ranking. So at number five, at the bottom of the barrel, we have Phantasm Ravager. Now, the reason I have this one at the very bottom was because it took them close to maybe between Phantasm 4 and this film, almost close to 20 years for this film to finally be released. And, when while watching this franchise, I thought that the Ravager film was going to answer some of the questions that we along the franchise were missing and wanted to be answered. And with this film, I saw the first one for the first time. It was a very, very bad movie. I'm not saying, well, it is a bad film in terms of they try their best with what they have, but it was a very low budget film. Now I'm not saying that the Phantasm films are low budget, but with this one, I felt that it didn't feel like a Ravager, like a Phantasm film. For me, it felt something so odd compared to the other films. Not to mention that the previous four films were directed by the same director. And this is the only one that wasn't really directed by the original director. So that kind of might be the case why Ravager didn't get the much love that it deserves. Like I said, to me, it's the very bottom. Low budget film. I just was just out there. I didn't feel that same. I don't want to say that same vibe I felt in the other films. So, one of the reasons Phantoms and Ravager is at my number five. At number four, we have Phantasm 3 Lord of the Dead. Now, with this film, to me, Phantasm 3 is kind of more of a kind of a dark horror comedy, if you know what I mean. Those kind of films that dabble more into the comedy side of horror, but still keep it that horror kind of thing. I mean, it had some great kills, but the thing about this film was that it was a bit of a letdown after the amazing of Phantasm 2. Kind of going from Phantasm 2 to Phantasm 3 was kind of a bit of a meh because you're expecting this franchise to go up and up and up and up and up and up. But this one went up and up and then went down, and then it just went down even more hell from there. But regardless, it is a great film in my opinion. Like I said, the dark comedy is still there. Of course, the Tall Man, of course, the icon of the Tall Man. I mean, what more can you expect from that? At number three, we have Phantasm 4 Oblivion. So funny story about this film that while I was doing research. Apparently, when Phantasm 1 was being filmed, they had so many scenes that they filmed from the first original film that they kind of used some of those scenes for Oblivion for Oblivion, which for a lot of people might say that's a very cheap way to make a film. I don't think so because if you have some films, some scenes that were filmed for a reason. Sometimes they're left in the vault, never to be used, while others try to use it in some other capacity or films down the road, which I do appreciate that. And of course, the tall man, I think he's acting was more better than Phantasm 3, to be honest, if I say so myself. I'm just trying to remember his fucking name. Angus Scrim. Yeah, that's his name. Angus Scrim. Angus Scrim's performance was a bit better in Phantasm 4 than it was in Phantasm 3 because Phantasm 3 was kind of a bit of a mech for me, but Phantasm 4, again, it kind of elevated the Tall Man to a more notoriety. Like, this was a film that was released during the 80s when there was a lot of great horror films, and sometimes Phantasm gets kind of a big backfire because of other great films like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like the Chucky and all that. But Phantasm 4 Oblivion, for having number 3, to me, think it's a perfect ranking for me to have it because I believe that this film began to was a great promising for eventually what we thought that was going to be an amazing Phantasm 5. And then again, we got Phantasm Ravager, and wasn't really that case. But to me, as a first timer, Phantasm 4 Oblivion sits respectively at my number 3. At number 2, shockingly, I'm gonna have the first Phantasm. Now, the first Phantasm, when I first saw it, you can kind of tell it was a low budget film. I mean, almost all the films except for the second one were more low budget films, kind of B movies who will later become A movies in the future. But the first time that you see the Tall Man, you kind of get this feeling that he's not from this world. I mean, how? I mean, don't get me wrong. There are tall people from that size, but the way that he acts, the way that he speaks, the way that he walks, it kind of gives you that alien-esque kind of feeling, which eventually we know that he's from not from this world. And then what he does with the bodies, and it's kind of crazy to think that a concept of an undertaker taking the bodies from the coffin, creating them into dwarfs, and making them your slaves to do whatever the hell you want. It's a really, really, really creepy idea because if you're burying your loved one, you don't want their corpse to be created into a dwarf who could eventually go fucking kill you. You want them to lay and rest. But again, the tall man, again, that vibe of the tall man of Angus, of the actor Angus, it's just so out there that lately the tall man has become a more notable horror icon, which is he should get more respect to that because you know that's the first film. Like I said, I always say the first films are always the test run of how a franchise could eventually become, and eventually create it for more sequels. So that kind of tell the test of time of how this franchise was able to create a world of its own and the possibilities and all that. So for those reasons, the first Phantasm sits at my number 2. And of course, at number 1, I have Phantasm 2. Out of the gate, when the first time I see Phantasm 2, you can kind of tell the level. I mean, it was more high quality filming, a bit more creativity, more, I don't want to say CGI, but more practical effects. You can kind of tell they kind of went more budget in this film, and it kind of shows. I mean, the way it's filmed, the acting, the special effects, the tall man, everything about this film was a bit more high production. And I do believe that, sometimes in certain films, high production can help the quality of a film depending on the story. And with Phantasm 2, that really helped a lot because, again, we have the continuation of Mikey and Reggie trying to find the tall man or destroy him before he keeps doing what it did with, of course, his brother Jordy and the rest of the family. So they try. It's a hunt for the tall man, and eventually, of course, there's the girl, which I'm trying to remember her name right now, who eventually kind of has a kind of telepathy with Mikey, trying to tell him that help me, Mikey, and help me, and eventually they find each other and trying to destroy the tall man. But again, Phantasm 2 is one of those films that I do believe has become a horror classic, just like the first film. I mean, in my opinion, the first two films, in my opinion, are the quintessential, Phantasm films you need to watch. The third film, fourth film, they're okay, but the fifth film kind of it's a big black for me. But the second film, to me, for its great production, practical effects, a bit more budget film, it kind of gave the film a bit more light to it, and it give a lot more fans to watch this film. Like I said before, for me being a first time viewer for almost the majority of these films, Phantasm 2 was always the film that, compared to all the films, it felt more like a horror film. You can kind of tell because, like I said, the production and all that. So for those reasons, Phantasm 2 sits at my number one. And that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys really enjoyed this rank 'em all. And like I said, we're still almost to the end of the end. But like I said, I still have a lot more videos for you all to check out and to go crazy. And next up for episode 19, god damn, 19 episodes. For tomorrow's video, I'm gonna be doing a bit of a weird ranking mode. I'm gonna be ranking all of the Hannibal Lecter films. Yeah, you never thought I would ever go into Hannibal Lecter. And oh yeah, I mean, of course, it's Hannibal Lecter. What more can I say about that? But stay tuned out for tomorrow's video. Like I said before, I've been working on more of my city collections. I've been working a lot of stuff back and forth. I'm trying to bring you guys more content into this channel. Like I said, hope you guys really been enjoying all these ranking mods I've been doing for the past couple of days. And of course, we're gonna keep doing this until Halloween night, Halloween day. And I hope you guys really enjoying. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if that's your fan. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram. Don't forget to follow me on my Twitter and do all those things. And thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, everyone. And until next time, stay metal.